Okay, then one more cause is of soft S1. Okay, what happens in case of aortic regurgitation and in case of mitral regurgitation? Okay, in case of aortic regurgitation, what is going like as we know in MR there is like increased volume status, and then second one is there is loss of coaptation, and sometimes even there is a abnormal tissue abnormal tissue bar leaflet anatomy, and there could be dilatation of ring. Okay, ring dilatation in case of MR. So these are the causes of your soft S1. Because of these, like increased volume status will cause increased distance between them. And second, loss of coaptation because they are regurgitating. Third one is abnormal tissue. It could be like MR could be cause of your infective endocarditis, papillary muscle dysfunction, or it is a rheumatic carditis and tear of the valves and so many things. So tissue abnormality can be there that can be preventing its coaptation properly, or it could have a hole in the leaflet that may be causing. And fourth one is because of the chronic volume overload status, there is a dilatation of the ventricle. So there is a ring dilatation of ventricle that is going to like prevent the proper coaptation like this. So in case of aortic regurgitation, what happens is because there is an increasing blood which is coming back from aorta, there is like dilated ventricles are there. And again, this is a volume overload state, And what happens is one of the mechanism is, see, for example, if I'll just draw for diagrammatic purpose, this is a semilunar valve and this was your AV valve, okay? So you are having here left atrium and this is your left ventricle, okay, which is there like this, okay? In case of what happens is, for example, now the leaflet have been open like this, okay? If the leaflet were in this position 2, they would have caused very nice loud S1 would have been caused. Normally, like what happens is because the regurgitant jet is coming back like this, okay, volume is increasing in LV. This is going to push the leaflet into like half closed position. So this distance is reduced. So this may be cause of your soft S1. Okay, in case of aortic regurgitation. So this is AR. So in case of AR, what happens is one is your dilatation. So what happens in case of dilatation is, for example, if this is the leaflet as there and this is the ring on which the leaflets are present. Okay, so this is like which is present. And what happens in case of dilatation, the rings will be like this dilated, and actually they are supposed to coapt like this, and the leaflet will not be able to coapt. So this is your dilated ring. Okay. So there will be a regurgitation of blood like this. So these are the different mechanisms for AR and MR. Then second one is, the last is pushing of valves. So pushing of valves is going to cause your reduced distance. Like for example, this was the normal position. Because the blood is coming like this, they are going to slightly close like this. And whenever the ventricle contact, they are just going to close this much. Instead of closing from this position like this to like this, they are just going to close from like this to like this. So that is also going to cause your soft S1. Then one more thing is like it is little higher level if you want to remember, otherwise not to remember at all. If they ask you M1 and T1, these two are separate sounds, are you able to identify them into two different sounds? Any conditions are there, then you can tell. In case of LVBB or RVBB, we may be able to identify the two different components of M1 and T1. Mechanisms, forget it. If you want, I'll explain, but it will be a big confusion. Don't want. So LVBB and RVBB. Maybe some of you may be able to find out why it will happen. So if you calculate by the pathway which a current goes, which will contract first, which will eventually come pretty similar to your A2 and P2. So welcome to S2. So S2 is having a A2 and P2. We are having two components here. And S2 is called as the key or master for cardiac auscultation. So if you are able to master the S2, then you are going to master the cardiology. So if you are not able to master the S2, then cardiology is totally waste. It is gone. So S2 is the most important component. A2 and P2. Always aortic closes first, then pulmonary closes. So always A2 is first and then P2 is second. So normally what happens is in expiration, there is a no split, or you cannot appreciate the split because A2 and P2 are closing just next to each other. That's why you will be able to listen as a single sound. So it is S2 is a single sound in expiration. What happens in inspiration? So inspiration, what happens is the gap is going to increase. So A2 and P2. The gap is going to increase, and that is why you are going to listen the second hard sound as two different components. So you'll be able to auscultate that as two different sounds. So the mechanism will just go with, so for example, in case of expiration, what is going to happen with P2 here and which is A2 here. So aorta as it is, it will go pump the blood, A2 we are getting it here, because in expiration there is a positive intrathoracic pressure that is going to prevent the blood, like venous return is reduced or it is less. So what happens is there is a reduced volume load, like preload is reduced here. So reduced low volume state is there. So that is also going to what happen? Contract, like contraction is going to end early. That's why you are going to get P2 also, like just followed by A2. But what happens during inspiration? So inspiration, what happens is there is a negative intrathoracic pressure and lot of venous blood from SVC and IVC is going to come, and there is a lot of filling into the RV, lot of blood is going to fill. So A2 is going to close as it is, and P2 what happens, RV will take longer time for its completion of its systole comparatively to expiration. So you're going to, after long gap, you're going to get systole. So here it is a short gap and here is a long gap. So this you will able to appreciate it as a single S2, and this is your split S2. So this split is normal. So inspiratory split is normal. So this is the basic physiology which you are going to get. So there are different conditions where you are going to get the different like variations of your what to tell about hard sounds. Okay, so we can have some conditions that I have written in on paper, like which are the different conditions we want to discuss. Okay, first one will go with the AR, AS, then you get hypertension, then you have got LBBB, then we'll discuss again here inspiration and expiration as normal finding, then we'll go with the MR, then acute pulmonary hypertension, then what happens is chronic pulmonary hypertension, then you have got RBBB, tricuspid regurgitation, then we'll go with the VSD, then we'll go with the PDA, then we'll go RA myxoma and WPW syndrome. WPW syndrome and lastly ASD. Okay, so these many conditions we will discuss now. So what happens in case of aortic stenosis and aortic regurgitation with respect to A2 and with respect to your P2? So can, like, we'll discuss one by one. So somebody's sound is coming now, somebody's talking. So in case of, we'll take it as normally, this is A2, this is P2, which are occurring normally. Whether it is a physiological or like expiration or inspiration, always A2 is first and then P2 is going afterwards. So what happens in case of aortic regurgitation? Because lot of blood is coming. So for example, 10% of the blood is regurgitating back. Again, the aorta is spending more amount of time to push that blood again outside. So what happens is left-sided contraction is going little bit later. So it is going to end little later. So what happens? This is the normal A2 P2 which is occurring. So A2 is going to close little bit louder, like later, not louder, sorry, later. So A2 and P2 are going to come little close to each other. Okay, here. So because aorta is working little more, A2 is going to come little near to P2. So you may be able to appreciate it as single heart sound. Okay, here. This may be like A2 P2 because they'll come very near to each other. You may be able to appreciate it as single heart sound. Then second one is aortic stenosis. More than regurgitation in stenosis because it will take a lot of time than regurgitation. Okay, so aortic component will close very late. Pulmonary will already would have closed. So it will be like most of the time it could be like A2 P2. This is normally occurring. A2 can little shift like this, or it can be like A2 P2, which is normally occurring. It will close so late that it will go beyond the P2. So what happens is A2 will shift like this and will become beyond P2. So this is going here. So this is called as reverse split. Okay, reverse splitting. So this is reverse splitting of A2 and P2 in case of aortic stenosis. Aortic stenosis and pulmonary, like systemic hypertension, this is okay. This is systemic hypertension, are very similar to each other. Okay, it is also having a restriction, like there is an increased pressure over the aorta to push it out. So left ventricle is working more. So A2 P2, how it will go is, so A2 can close late or it will become P2 A2. Okay, so this is reverse splitting. So both are having same phenomena, aortic stenosis and systemic hypertension. We'll come to LVBB here. So in case of LVBB, what we'll discuss like this. So, okay, for example, this is your AV node. This is your prominent bundle which is there. Then you are having your bundle branches which are going like this. Okay, this is your left bundle branch and this is your right bundle branch. Okay, so here you are having A2 is produced by this side and P2 is produced by this side. So you are having a bundle branch here. So whatever the current is coming, it is going to first spread like this, and also slowly from muscle to muscle, muscle to muscle, it is going to spread like this. So first P2 is going to be completed. Okay, then what happens? This side the impulse will start flowing out because there is a block here from myocyte to myocyte. A2 will close late. So it could be like in case of LVBB, A2 will close little late and P2 will be like, it will be as it is. So it could be like single split, can be like single. There is no double sounds. Okay, it can be like that. Next, in coming to inspiration, as we said, A2 P2. P2 will go little louder, like it will go late. It will close up late in case of inspiration because of volume overload. In case of expiration, it is A2 P2, which is normal single sound. Okay, normal single sound, which you are going to hear. Then it come to mitral regurgitation. Okay, in case of mitral regurgitation, what is going to happen is, we'll discuss here. So if this is your interventricular septum and this is your LV and this is your RV, this is an incompetent valve here. Here is your aorta which is going out like this. Okay, so what happens is, in case of mitral regurgitation, here 50% of the blood goes, here 50% of the blood goes. So aorta will close, A2 will come very early, then P2 will occur at its normal position because RV is normal. So aorta is going to close up first. So A2 will close up early than P2. So there will be a split. Okay, split is present here because A2 is closing early. Okay, here inspiration split was happening because P2 is closing late. Here A2 is closing early. In case of acute and chronic pulmonary hypertension, I have to tell something like, we have got something called hangout interval. Okay, this is important concept here. There is something called as hangout interval. So what happens is, the definition goes like this. For example, now the LV has stopped contraction. Okay, its systole has ended. Okay, here is the aorta. Okay, which is there, semilunar valves is there, and this is your LV which is there, and you are hearing your mitral valve apparatus like this. Okay, this is your semilunar valve which are there. So what, according to the theoretically, what happens is, as soon as the pressure over the difference, for example, this is now 80 mmHg, this is 120 mmHg, because the systole has ended, this valve should have immediately closed like this. Okay, because there is a lot of pressure difference, but it is not going to happen. So after the changeover of the pressure also, the valve does not close immediately. They will have a slight delay. Okay, after a few seconds they are going to close, even though there is a pressure difference. Blood column, it appears to be a single blood column only will be there. This will be in the 80 mmHg pressure, this will be under 120, but there will be no flowing here and out, like in and out flowing will not be there. After a few seconds, this valve is going to close and it is going to make aorta and LV as a different chamber. Okay, this is not normally which is going to happen. Okay, in case of pulmonary hypertension, which is going to happen in case of right-sided events. Okay, hangout interval will be most important while defining the A2 P2 split in case of pulmonary acute and chronic hypertensions. Okay, what happens in case of acute pulmonary hypertension, I will tell you. So in case of acute pulmonary hypertension, aortic side at least nothing is going to happen. In case of pulmonary side, that is on the right ventricular side, see, for example, what happens is, there is a thrombus which is going to sit now. For example, this is your pulmonary circulatory system. Here you are having a thrombus which is sitting here. Suddenly pulmonary acute hypertension which has occurred. So what happens is that hangout interval is reduced. So what happens, suddenly this is going to close now. Okay, even though the pressure difference has occurred, there will be some lag between the closing. That lag is gone. So P2 will occur early. So this is going to cause a single sound. Acute pulmonary, this you should remember, it is a single. So it is going to cause a single S2. Whereas in chronic pulmonary hypertension, over a period of time, the hangout interval goes on increasing, and there is a physiological like adaptation which is going to happen, and it is going to close very late even though the pressure changes are going to happen. So this is going to cause a shift of the P2 little later. So closing will be delayed. So this is going to cause your split S2. So the important thing which you are going to remember is pulmonary hypertension in case of acute and chronic. So in case of acute, A2 P2, so P2 is shifting early. In case of chronic, A2 P2, it is shifting late. So this will be a single sound. This will be a split sound. This you are going to remember. SP. Okay. So this much you are going to remember here. Next cause, we'll go for RBBB. As I said, because left side is intact, left side impulse will go first, and it is going to cause aortic contraction first, and then the pulmonary side will go on flowing. So what happens is aortic is going to contract as usual, and pulmonary is going to close late because activation is going to occur late. So here you can see the RBBB and LBBB. So in LBBB it is A2 will close late, in RBBB P2 will close late. So tricuspid regurgitation and ASD I'll tell you separately because it needs little bit of explanation. We'll go late here. So we'll keep ASD as one cause here, and we'll keep tricuspid regurgitation here. So these two we'll discuss again. Next we'll come to VSD. It is something similar to your mitral regurgitation only. 50% through the septal defect will go to the right side, 50% will go to aorta. So what happens is like A2 will close early, and if there is a P2 which is being formed. So can like anyone tell what happens when there is a VSD, like VSD is there with Eisenmengerization? So Eisenmengerization, what happens is there is a development of pulmonary arterial hypertension. Pulmonary artery hypertension is being developed, and because of that the shifting of blood is from right side to left side. Okay. So what happens is A2, P2. So A2 is going to close late because right sided blood is also coming, and P2 is going to close early because of pulmonary hypertension which is occurring and reduced blood flow is there. So you're going to get a single split. Like single, not split, single sound. Okay. In case of PDA, what happens in case of PDA? Can anyone type and tell? Split is increasing or decreasing? I'll tell about pulmonary hypertension one more time. Okay. I'll tell. Somebody had messaged me, tell about pulmonary hypertension again. So I'll explain you. So can anyone tell about the PDA? What is going to happen like split? How? How? Can you type? आराम से type in a single sentence. आराम से type in a single sentence. Okay. Blood will flow from where to where, which side hypertension has occurred, what happens. See, if you go on keeping the PDA as different type of conditions are there, it's very difficult to answer. I'll tell you which specific. PDA newborn patient is there is no pulmonary hypertension now. Pulmonary hypertension, you see, there's different findings again. If PDA with significant pulmonary hypertension, it is different. If PDA with no significant pulmonary hypertension, again it is different. So a newborn baby has come with a significant PDA and is not have established pulmonary hypertension. So blood is going from aorta to pulmonary artery, fine. Then increased circulation is occurring to the lungs. Increased venous return is occurring, like increased return is occurring to the left atrium. From left atrium to left ventricle it is coming again. So left ventricle is going to close late. So we'll go with the diagram because some of them I may not be able to understand. So this is your pulmonary system which is going on. This is your PDA which has, and this will take it as aorta. Okay, this we are going to take it as aorta. These are the two lungs we have here, triangular lungs, and again it is going to drain back into your left atrium. Then this is going to come to left ventricle. So because this is a high pressure to low pressure system, the blood is like aorta, it is going like this. Some normally, for example, some 100 ml was coming here. So 50 ml went to right lung and 50 ml went to left lung. Then it is coming 50 here because some 30 ml has been added here by the aorta. So here what happens is 50 and this becomes 80. So this becomes 130 ml here. So LV is again a 130 ml. So increased LV volume is there. So that is going to cause your A2 will close little late. So that is going to cause your this is like PDA, A2 is going to close late and P2. So you will have a narrow split. So if you go on keeping one of the conditions, like it is like if pulmonary hypertension is there, then what happens? Is not there. So too many conditions you can explain like this. Okay. RA myxoma. What happens in case of RA myxoma? So what happens is right atrial myxoma, it is going to cause your tricuspid valve obstruction is going to happen. So there is a reduced flow from the right atrium to the right ventricle. Flow is reduced. So RV volume is reduced. P2 will close early. So A2 and this is P2. So P2 is going to close early. And WPW syndrome. So WPW is so many accessories pathway are there. So for example, it is going to be right accessory pathway, left-sided accessory pathway, or something like that. So if we take it as right-sided, we have accessory pathway from RA to RV. It is similar like RA to RV, the impulse is going to come first before it crosses from the AV node, delay occurring and then coming. Instead of that, directly it is going to come from RA to RV. So RV get activated first. So what happens is RV contraction goes on first and P2 will be completed early, and LA will complete as it is like through AV node, whatever it is going to cause, or it is through muscle to muscle contraction, it is going to spread up to your left side. So what happens is A2, P2, P2 is going to come if there is a right sided apparent pathway. If there is a left sided apparent pathway, A2 is going to complete first. A2 and P2. Okay, these are the different mechanisms with which we can get it. I'll explain pulmonary hypertension one more time after we finish your we'll finish with pulmonary hypertension. Okay, first somebody had asked here. So what is the pulmonary artery hypertension? That again we'll discuss with hangout interval. What I am going to tell is, for example, this is your ventricle and this is your aorta which is there. So at the end of the systole, this is LV, this is your aorta. So at the end of the systole, it is like for example, you cannot, it acts as a single chamber. Okay, this valve is now not open. Okay, this valve is now, because systole has just completed. Okay, the output has just stopped now. Okay, there is like no output, so it acts as a single chamber now. Okay, LV and aorta is acting as a single chamber at the end of the systole. For example, at the systole, as the systole completes, the pressure in the LV goes on decreasing. Okay, from 120 it has come to 80, you think, but in aorta still the pressure is 120. As per the logic, in a single chamber, that is this is a single chamber, it cannot happen like two different pressure fluids cannot exist in a same column. So it should mix up here. So some amount of blood should regurgitate back and it should like mix up with this, causing like something like 100 or 100 something should happen. But that is not going to happen, and very shortly, like after the pressure difference has been sustained in a single column, very slight delay, like around point some seconds is there, I don't remember exactly, then the AV valve is going to close to prevent the mixture of these two to cause 100. Okay, if there was a delay, then it would have caused both mixture. So this is something called as hangout interval. So that is crossover of pressure. So even there is a changeover of pressure between the two chambers, the valve is not closing. The time from changeover of the pressure to closing of the valve, it is like 0.03 seconds, something like that we have. I don't remember exactly. That is a small duration which we are going to have. This hangout interval is having significant changes on the right-sided arterial system than left-sided system. So that is why you are going to have differences in like your pulmonary hypertension, acute and chronic. The changes or the splits, you are going to have differences. Okay. Hangout interval normally seen, somebody has asked, yes, hangout interval is a normal phenomenon. It is not like pathological phenomenon. Hangout interval is a normal phenomenon, it is seen. But in case of right-sided abnormalities, it becomes very obvious and it goes into a pathological state. Okay, if something is normal and abnormal, for example, blood pressure 120 is normal. If it becomes 160, it is called abnormal. Blood pressure is necessary for survival. Something like hangout interval is a part of cardiac cycle and cardiac physiology. Even for my level, we do not go into depth about hangout interval, because how it is important, why it is important, why that has been happening in the body, even really I don't know, because it is too depth into the cardiological mechanisms. So what we remember is, in case of hangout interval, right-sided system. Why I tell you right-sided system, I will make you realize why right-sided system is sensitive for your changes in the hangout interval. Okay, why? For example, you remember, see, there are some basic differences between your right-sided circulatory system and your left-sided circulatory system. For example, if there is hypoxia, okay, your normal left-sided arterial system is your aorta, carotid artery, radial artery, like femoral artery, all these which are coming out from aorta. If there is hypoxia, there is dilatation of the vessels. Okay, if there is hypoxia here, there is constriction of the vessels. Okay, then if there is an increased pressure, okay, this is going to cause some pathological changes in the pulmonary artery like endothelial hypertrophy, and there is endovascular fibrosis, and it is going to cause your reactive oxygen species formation, and it is also going to cause your smooth muscle hypertrophy, and finally it is going to cause your obliterative endarteritis here. Obliterative endarteritis. It is going to happen on the right side, that is pulmonary artery. Whereas on the left side, if you have hypertension, what is going to happen? Atherosclerosis, arteriosclerosis, and you have got your something called a stiffening of the valves, you have got aneurysms, and you have got dissections. These are the phenomena which occur on the left side. These are the phenomena which occur on the right side. So this is going to cause significant changes with the hangout interval on the right side rather than the left side. So what happens is, in case of acute pulmonary hypertension and in case of chronic pulmonary hypertension, if a thrombus has lodged acutely in some pulmonary artery, normally that gap is there, no, like small interval is there, after that it is going to close, that gap is reduced. So what happens is, immediately after changeover of the pressure, that is going to suddenly close. So what happens is, A2 and P2, because the closing occurs very early, like because of the hangout interval changes, it is going to come early. In case of chronic, there are so many changes which are occurring here and the closing occurs late. Okay, that is going to cause your A2 and P2, it is going to P2 shift later. If you are really not able to understand really whatever is like hangout interval, why it is happening, what are the obliterative endarteritis, what is that mechanism, simply remember, in acute it is going to close early, in case of chronic it is going to be late. What is the mechanism is, it is due to changes in the hangout interval. I think it will be more than sufficient for your level. Okay, why this is going to happen, what are the changes in the late like chronic hypertensive, pulmonary hypertension, why hangout interval happens, that is like too much into the depth for at least your level, so we'll not go into those, like what is going to happen. So you can remember it is acute, this is going to happen, chronic, this is going to happen. Next is we have two mechanisms here. In case of ASD and tricuspid regurgitation, ASD we something called as wide fixed split. Okay, this we are going to tell, and here what happens is, normal split is going to happen in case of TR. In most cases, not always, most cases normal split is there. So we will discuss the mechanism why here ASD wide fixed split, why this fixed split is there, why there is no variation with respiration is there with case of ASD. So what we'll do is, we'll have two conditions now here. For example, this is your RV, this is your this is your LV, then this we have your RA, and this is your LA, and this is your split, which is the ASD which is occurring. So what happens in case of inspiration? Okay, in case of inspiration, what happens is, there is increased venous return which is occurring, and this is actually closed, right? In inspiration, like if in closed phase, what happens, there is a increased load in the RA which is going to like shift it to LA. Okay, because there is an increased pressure here. Okay, these both are the low pressure systems only, but during inspiration there is a shift. Okay, so extra blood which has come here will go to LA. So eventually this is going to filter down, and both are going to have equal volume of blood here. Both are going to have equal volume of blood, and they are going to come here, and both are going to shift it out. We have A2 and P2, which is occurring at particular interval, say X interval, they both are occurring. Okay, in case of expiration, what is going to happen is, there is a positive intrathoracic pressure. So in case of positive intrathoracic pressure, what is going to happen? So this is your RA and this is your RV. This is your LA and this is your LV. So this input is reduced in case of expiration. This is gone. Okay, because there is a positive intrathoracic and LA now dominates over RA. So now blood is flowing like this. Equal amount of blood is going to enter now LV and LA. So now again we are going to have A2 and This is your P2, like A2 and P2 we are going to get. They are again both occurring at the same fixed interval only, because same amount of blood is going to come to LV and RV. That is why you are going to have wide and fixed split in case of your both inspiratory phase and expiratory phase. In case of second one, we'll go with a tricuspid regurgitation. What happens is we'll go like the same diagram here again. So we have got your RA and you have got RV, then you have got LA and you have got LV. So this is your incompetent valve which is there. Okay. So you are going to have regurgitation back from RV to RA. So blood which is going to pulmonary artery is less. So which is coming to LA is less. Which is coming to LV is less. Okay. Everything is less. Some amount have gone here, some amount have gone here. So what happens because of less here, A2 is coming little early, and because P2 was usually supposed to occur little late than like A2, or like all most of the time it will come later, because reduced blood is because half of it is going here and half of it is coming like this. Even P2 also shifts little bit prior. So both of them are shifting little prior to normal what is supposed to happen. That's why most of the time it is described as most cases. Again, I am telling there are so many controversies regarding TR, like mild TR, moderate TR, severe TR, TR with pulmonary artery hypertension, TR with no pulmonary artery hypertension, acute TR, chronic TR. We have again so many splits changes we are going to happen with respect to TR only. But classically what the books describe for examination purpose to answer in a theory or practical, basic mechanism, this much of blood goes like this much of blood goes like this, reduced pulmonary blood flow also is there, and there is reduced ventricular filling also is there. So what is going to happen finally is A2, P2 in case of TR, A2 is shifting little early, P2 is also shifting little early. So it is as good as A2, P2 are occurring normally. So it is almost most of the times there is no shift or no maximum differences between two types of hearts, like there is no split actually seen. So this is the explanation which you are supposed to answer. Don't put 100 together of extra conditions to it and complicate yourself. So if you want to put pulmonary artery hypertension, again pulmonary artery hypertension, P2 closes early, P2 closes late. So if you put acute, it will come like this. If you put chronic, it will come like this. If you put severe PR, TR, 100 of permutation combinations are there, don't go into it. So we'll end up there only. So we had discussed about this, then we had A2, P2 split. Okay, I think we finished all the major answers here. Okay. So anything else? I'll see in my thing. Okay, I think we'll finish it here. Okay. Okay, there are a few more conditions. I had kept a list. Like for example, we have got a single S2. Then second one is absent S2. Then third one. Then absent A2. Then I think this much is like we have a few more for our PG level. I think it is like not required. Okay, single S2 is like most of the time it is like normal physiological, like inspiratory phase, like expiratory phase, you can tell, like, and you have got your, we have discussed here so many cases, right, where P2 comes early and A2 comes early. We have discussed here. See, here this is going to cause a single second heart sound could be there. This could be reverse. This is again single. Okay, and this is actually single. This is a split here, RBBB. Okay, RBBB is like, sorry, RBBB is a split, whereas LBBB is a single. Like that you can tell single S2 causes, multiple causes are there for your single S2. So you can make a list of different conditions. Okay, absent second heart sounds, in that we have got like absent S2 means absent P2 it is actually. In which are the cases we have got absent P2. So you have got a severe pulmonary stenosis is there, or you are able to not auscultate because the person is very obesity, because P2 is a very soft sound. It is not loud sound like A2. It is a low intensity sound. In case of obesity, you will not be able to. If there is severe aortic stenosis, the murmur is so harsh with aortic stenosis that it radiates all over the precordium. So you will not be able to appreciate P2 only. So these are the few conditions. So in case of absent A2, if there is a significant aortic regurgitation, or if there is emphysema, or if it is like sometimes what happens is A2 is normal only, but P2 is very loud. Okay, P2 is loud due to pulmonary hypertension. That time A2 will be masked under the P2. A2 will be normal, but P2 is very loud. So these are the different conditions you are going to tell. And there is something one more. We'll finish. We have 5 minutes with the second session of Zoom. So we'll finish with intensities of P2. So when are you going to call it as a loud P2? So when we will call the sound of a second heart sound P2 component as a loud P2, when its intensity is equal to A2. So A2 intensity is equal to P2, and P2 is heard at aortic area, then you can tell it as sometimes P2 is loud, or rarely in case of RV apex. If apex is formed by RV, P2 is audible at apex. P2 is audible at apex. So then you are going to call in case of P2 is loud. So these are the three, like A2 is equal to P2 and like this, and these three conditions, 1, 2, 3. So these three conditions you are going to tell. And other than that, like we have got like one more is like you grade it as grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. So these are the loud P2 sounds we are going to do it. Like when here like A2 is equal to P2, and then we will do it as P2 is louder than A2. Then you will tell like P2 is audible beyond pulmonary area. So these are the three. So A2 P2 equal means grade 1. Like usually P2 is softer always. So P2 is soft sound actually. So if P2 is equal to A2 or P2 is greater than A2, grade 2, and P2 is greater than like your is audible in areas beyond the pulmonary area. So I have put it in a sheet like grade 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I'll tell you the pulmonary pressures because this is the memory base. I did not remember. I have written here. If there is a loud grade 1 P2, then pulmonary artery pressure I'm telling. Pulmonary hypertension pressures are graded as, like clinically, it will be around 21 to 34 mmHg pressure. If it is like grade 2 pulmonary loud sound, then it is 35 to 50 mmHg pulmonary artery pressure. Then if it is grade 3, then it is more than 50 mmHg pressure. And in case of grade 3, you will usually describe it beyond P2 as well as very loud and banging type of P2 will tell it as banging type. This much is more than enough for few people with respect to S1 and S2. Okay. So tomorrow we'll discuss with S1, S2, small and fast revision we'll do. And then we'll go with the S3, S4 and some amount of murmur introduction will go. Okay. Introduction to murmurs will go. And before we go for tomorrow's session, we will have a small diagram of cardiac cycle here. So this is the baseline like cardiac cycle. This is your S1. This is your S2. Again we have S1. This is what is the normal which is happening here. Okay. So when you want to like really describe something, you can put it as like S1 only will go. You will take it as something here, S2 here. Here if you want to take, you can take like two components are almost fused. This is M1 and T1. Okay, these are the two components which are most of the time fused, and you can have here a systolic murmur. This is the area, and you can have here ejection clicks. Ejection clicks. These are the two sounds we get here. Whereas in case of diastolic, we will take it as S1 here. So this is S2 here. We have got A2 and we have got a P2. This is normal. See diagram here. We have got a fused sound. It is. This is S1. Whereas it is not a fused sound. There is a gap here. So this is the gap here. So this is a S2 here. Then we have got something called as a opening snap here. OS opening snap we can get. Then we can get S3. Then we can get MDM murmurs. Then we can get something called as pre-systolic accentuations here. Okay, so these are the different sounds. Whereas like if you going to mark it like here, so we have got here M1 and T1. This is a S1. Then we have got ejection clicks here. Ejection clicks we can get, and we can get here systolic murmurs. Then we have got here A2